Your breath doesn't actually go into your belly, right? The air doesn't go into your belly directly. The breath goes into your lungs, and your lungs are actually way up here. So where we were holding up here near the collarbones, the tops of your lungs are that high up. So as you breathe in and out, your lungs fill and empty, right? And it's a closed system from your lungs to your pubis. It's a closed system in here. So when your lungs are inflating, they have to displace some other area in your body. When your lungs inflate, your diaphragm, which is down here by your ribs, that moves down a little bit. Down. I'll go down this way, right? So when that moves down, it pushes into your abdominal cavity, your belly, and so your belly should be moving out when you breathe in and should be moving in when you exhale. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's just, you're just getting air into the lungs. When the lungs are empty, your body is in one state. When the lungs are full or filling, it actually has to displace organs, and it has to displace into your abdominal cavity. So just thinking about that, if you can, this morning. I know it's 9:30 in the morning to have some anatomy, but if you can just think about that when you're breathing and how you're breathing, that'll create a little less stress around the breathing itself, right? So this is just sort of a normal, natural part of breathing. So how many of you could feel more movement in your belly than in your ribs? And how many could feel more movement in your collarbones than your ribs? And how many could feel no movement in the collarbones? Right, yeah. So it's interesting, right? It's interesting to note. For a lot of us, we're going to be a little, we're going to have a void somewhere, right? Because we get used to breathing in a certain way. And again, for most of us, we are not breathing to our capacity. So when I don't breathe to capacity, I don't have that displacement necessarily. I can breathe in and out and have just a little bit of movement in my ribs, or I can breathe in and out and have just a little bit of movement up here and nothing in my belly. Yeah. When the lungs are filling, right, it's taking up more space in your body. Your diaphragm, which is here, pushes down into your belly, so your belly has to move out. So your belly has to expand when you breathe in. As a matter of fact, your ribs have to expand when you breathe in, and your collarbones have to expand when you breathe in. So it's like, you know those long balloons, right? You know how they fill all the way down and then they empty? Picture it like that. So it's like a balloon that has to fill all the way to the end, and then when you let the air out, it empties all the way from the end. So that's your whole body. Thank you for that. Anything else? Questions? Thoughts? All right, let's put that breathing into practice a little bit. So if you want to get comfortable in your chair with your feet on the floor, sit away from the back of your chair if you can. Yeah, that'll give us the opportunity to kind of use the body as well. So notice where your shoulders are relative to your hips. Are you leaning forward a little bit? Can you have your shoulders over your hips? Can you relax the shoulders down away from the ears and your head? So notice if your neck is feeling tense this morning, see if you can relax your neck muscles a little bit. Your head is just kind of sitting right on top of your shoulders. And then if it's comfortable, close your eyes. This will help draw your attention into your own breathing. So nothing distracts us more than something in our vision, right? Humans are very visual. So with your eyes closed, you'll be less likely to be distracted. And if closing your eyes just doesn't feel right for you, you can look down at the floor. And if you look down at the floor, that'll bring everything else in the room sort of in a blurry kind of focus. And take one hand and place it on your belly, right below your navel where we were before. And then take one hand and place it on your ribs, maybe on the opposite side, maybe on the same side, whatever doesn't create too much tension or stress in your arms and shoulders. So this should be very comfortable. You might even imagine, like, picture yourself lying down in bed at night. This is a nice way to just kind of look at your breath while you're in bed. So breathing in, feel your belly and your ribs expand. And breathing out, feel your belly and your ribs contract. And if you can't feel the expansion and contraction that I just described. Just stay with it. And just focus as you're inhaling. See if you can get your belly and your ribs to expand. And as you exhale, get your belly and your ribs to gently contract. You might picture that balloon that I was talking about. Breathing in, breathing out. And now begin to exaggerate the breath as you inhale. Get it a little bit longer so that your belly and your ribs expand a little bit more. And then as you exhale, you're going to engage your belly muscles. Pull your navel in toward your spine. See if you can get your body to compress a little bit more, to contract a little bit more. So we're just exaggerating the inhalation, exaggerating the exhalation. When you think you've gotten to the top of your inhale, you're probably nowhere near it. You can take in some more breath. And when you've gotten to the bottom of your exhale, engage those belly muscles, pull your navel in. You'll be surprised how much breath you actually can get rid of by doing it that way. As we're doing this exaggerated inhalation and exhalation, I want you to focus on the exhalation being the active part of your breath. We think always of the inhalation as being the active part. And what I mean by that is put more emphasis on pulling your belly button in toward your spine, so engaging and contracting those abdominal muscles. Put more emphasis on the contracting. Then you'll notice that the inhale just kind of happens on its own. Gets a little easier. So if you sometimes have a difficult time taking a full deep breath, try to focus on exhaling more. It sounds counterintuitive, but try to focus on exhaling more, and that will sometimes allow you to breathe in a little easier. So again, we're focusing more attention on the exhale, really actively engaging those belly muscles, pulling the navel in, maybe even more than before. Really tighten those belly muscles on the exhale, and then allow that inhale to come in naturally. And now whatever part, your belly or your ribs, whatever part you feel the breath more acutely. So if, say, I feel it more in my belly than my ribs, you're going to take your hand where you feel it more acutely and you're going to place it up by your collarbones. So for me, I can feel it more in my belly. I'm going to place my belly hand up by my collarbones. If, on the other hand, I could feel it more in my ribs, I'm going to place my rib hand up by my collarbones. So this is personal. This is up to you. You might have to go back and breathe in and out a couple times to figure it out. Whichever place you feel the breath more, you're going to take that hand and bring it up to your collarbones. And then we're going to do that same process again. So as you breathe in, see if you can focus on the expansion in the ribs and up to the collarbones. Now you might need to take a longer, deeper breath in to feel it go all the way to the top. And as you breathe out, again, you're pulling your belly muscles in. That's helping to push the air out. And see if you can feel the parts of your body contracting, your collarbones and either your ribs or your belly. So we're still doing the 3 parts, but unless you have 3 hands, you can only be in 2 places. And if it feels at all confusing and you need to change your hand position, you can do that. Just make sure you have one hand up by your collarbones. The other hand can move between the ribs and the belly. And make sure you can feel that inhalation come all the way up to the top. Again, you might be tempted to just try and breathe in more, but what I'm saying is breathe out more. Pull that navel in toward the spine, really tighten your belly if you're having a hard time feeling the breath up in your collarbones. And then when you let that go, you should feel it a little more up in the collarbone area. And one more time, we're just going to breathe it in fully, completely, all the way to the collarbones. And after your exhalation, whenever that is, remember it's active, so pull the navel in strongly. After that, you can just let your hands rest on your lap and go back to your natural breath. And notice what you're aware of now in your breathing. So your hands are not on your torso, but notice if you can feel or sense your breath a little differently now. Let's take a deep breath in together. Let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes open. Did anybody notice a shift in what they could feel in their breath? Yeah. Where could you feel it more? You got it up here, yeah. It does take a while. Anybody else notice that? It takes a while to get it up there? Yeah, because most of us don't breathe all the way up, right? When we do deep breathing. For some of us now, that breath is going to be really apparent up here because we breathe kind of shallowly. Especially if you have a little bit of a breathing issue, if you've got some obstruction in your breathing. So we're going to do another breathing technique. We've been doing this the last couple of weeks, and I didn't really introduce it as such, but I was kind of cueing it. So it's a 2 inhale, 1 exhale kind of breath. This is, again, very good for calming the nervous system, very good for getting more oxygen into your body. And what it looks like, it's two big breaths, and then it's an exhale through the mouth. It's an exhale kind of with noise through the mouth, right? So it's right? So that is the whole breath, right? So we're going to try that a couple of times. When you're ready. Now you're filling all the way to the top. How about 2 more? Last one. Now breathe in fully. Hold. Hold, hold. And then let it out slowly through your nose. And go back to a normal breathing in and out. That was like the balloon deflating. Yeah, you could feel that, right? You could feel it in your body. Yeah. So that's another breathing technique that you can use. I like it particularly when it's a little bit warm out. Sighing, making that sound. Vibration actually helps get some of the breath out. And the reason why I'm focusing on more breath out is because we often have air trapped in the lower lobes of the lungs. And the only way to get that out is through actively getting it out. Imagine you're trying to, you got a spill on the counter, right? You spilled some water on the counter and you're trying to wipe it up. And you take the sponge from the sink. If the sponge is wet, meaning it's full, right? You can't sop up that water. It won't sop it up. You have to squeeze out the sponge in order to get the water. That's the same thing with the lungs. So in order to be able to get more air in, I got to squeeze the stuff that's in there. I got to squeeze that out. And then I can breathe in a little bit more. Yes, a balloon. Yes, blown balloon up. That's a great way to practice. Yes, to practice that. Absolutely. Just don't suck in the helium. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. All right, so we'll focus a little bit more on breath near the end, but for now, I'm just going to ask you to breathe in and out easily and smoothly, right? So we talk about the round breath all the time, kind of going in and out. There's that natural pause between the inhale and exhale, natural pause between the exhale and inhale, but we're just going to go with that smooth breath, and we're going to get right into some movement for the fingers, guys. Yeah, good. So squeezing and extending the fingers. Notice how your hands feel today. It's been kind of muggy. So who's had some issues with finger joint problems, pain, discomfort? Yeah, yeah. So that one, yeah. Good. It's well, not that one, right? Yeah. So getting movement into the joints when they're a little bit stiff. Again, it seems counterintuitive, right? When something is stiff and sore, we want to not move it, but we really do need to move in order to have the fingers feeling better. So let's take the hands and extend them, and we're going to circle right here at the thumbs, right? And now some folks who are troubled by the humidity find it a little easier in the winter when there's less humidity. And then let's circle the first fingers. And then some folks have trouble when it's cold out, crackly joints and pain and all of that in the joints then. And then let's take the second finger. Right? So look at those second fingers and notice how the third finger likes to go along for the ride. And then let's do the third finger. And it maybe is a little more independent than the second, but maybe not so much. And then how about the last one? All right. Good. And then let's really squeeze the hands. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Okay. Now keeping the hands squeezed, we're going to extend the arms out. Keep your hands below your shoulders, though. So no arms way up here. We want to have the hands below the shoulders. And bring your fists down toward the floor. So your hands are clenched in fists. So we're in a fist, right? So keep the fist. We're not going to change that. And bring the hands down. I think of this as like motorcycle hands, right? Right? And then we're just going to come up again, keeping the fists really as tight as you can manage, right? So let me just say this. If this is causing pain in your joints, just let up a little bit. You don't have to be completely white-knuckled here, right? So breathing in and out nice and smoothly. Notice what you're feeling and where you're feeling it. So for a lot of us, we're going to feel stuff in the wrists. We're going to feel tightness or stiffness in the wrists. Forearms. Anybody having forearms? Yeah. How about elbows? If your elbows are straight, you might feel it up into the elbows and the upper arms. Good. Okay. So the next time you have your fists down toward the floor, we're going to hold here, right? Extend the arms. So that means straighten the elbows as best you can. Relax your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Right? And then we're going to bend the elbows, keep those fists down, and pull them back, right? And then come right out. So we're just going to pull back, and you're keeping your knuckles as close to your wrists as they can be, right? Breathing in, breathing out. So keeping the elbows in toward the body. So in other words, don't let your elbows come out here. You want to have your elbows in toward your body. Good. Everybody doing okay? Yes. You all breathing through this? And the next time you come out, we're going to extend the fingers slowly and bring the hands up. Right? So you're pressing out through the heels of your hands now, right? Really pressing out. Now extend the elbows. Spread your fingers wide as you do this, right? Relax your shoulders, your neck, and your jaw, because quite often what happens in the fingers comes right up into the jaw. So we're going to take the hands now, keep the elbows in toward the body, bring them back, bring your elbows back as far as they'll go. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and then push forward and straighten those elbows. And then bend the elbows, pull back, keep the hands forward, right? So you're still like pushing away. You're keeping the fingers up toward the ceiling or toward the wrists. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Everybody's doing okay. Good. 2 more. So push, keep the elbows in close to the body as you come back. Good. And last one, we're going to pull back and then push forward. And now relax your elbows and relax your wrists and circle around. Good. And circle the other way. All right. And then shake out your hands a little bit here. Excellent. Okay, so bring your arms down. Again, elbows in close to the body. We're just going to tap and come down. So tap and come down. Now notice you can do this without a whole lot of effort, right? Not a lot of effort involved. So what we're going to do is try and create some effort. And the best way to do that is to make believe, if you make like a light fist with your hands, make believe you've got, or pretend you've got weights in your hands, right? So maybe like 3 pounds. We'll start with 3 pounds. Feel that weight of that 3 pounds in your hands. And then you're going to engage these muscles right here, your biceps muscles. I want you to try and squeeze those muscles as you lift your fists up to your shoulders. When you get to the top here, squeeze those muscles again. And now as you lower, keep those muscles squeezed. Keep them squeezed really, really strong. Slowly lowering down. Right? So here we go again. So slowly curling up. Get to the top, really give those Popeye muscles a good squeeze, and then even more slowly lowering down. You all breathing okay? In and out. How's 3 pounds doing for you? Okay? Kind of heavy. Okay, so let's go to 5. Let's just try it. So squeeze like you're lifting 5 pounds. You notice how much heavier it just got? Isn't that crazy? Right? Anybody want to go to 7? Yeah, go to 7. If you're comfortable with 5, stay with 5. And the next time you come halfway, I want you to stay right there halfway. Keep squeezing. You're still holding 5 or 7 pounds. Right? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. But don't be squeezing your fists so tight, right? So we're squeezing here. I can tell some of you are squeezing your fists, right? Yeah, you're trying to crush those weights. So holding there. Now really slowly lower that down. And release the weight. Let your arms hang down by your sides. Release everything. Close your eyes for a moment. Take some breaths in and out. Remember, breathe into your belly, your ribs, and your collarbones. And as you're breathing deeply into your belly, your ribs, and your collarbones, I want you to feel your arms. Feel those biceps muscles, how strong they are now. Take a breath in and let it out with a sigh. Open your eyes. All right. Got strong biceps muscles now, right? So we're going to, right, everybody's going, ooh, good. All right. So we're going to go to the triceps muscles now. Triceps are back here. So biceps are in the front. There's 2 of them. And then in the back, there are 3 of them. Yes? Sure. Yeah, not weird at all. How many others felt it more on one side than the other? Yeah, absolutely. And it can be a number of things. You might be stronger on one side. You might have been focusing more on one side. You might have been squeezing one fist more than the other. So the more you squeeze your fist, the less you squeeze your biceps. So just something to think about when you're doing that. So the triceps muscles, they're neglected a little bit in our daily activity, right? So your biceps muscles have to engage anytime you're lifting something up. So think about going to the grocery store and you pick up your grocery bag, picking up a laundry basket, I don't know, picking up anything else around your house, right? Picking up a pan off the stove. You're using your biceps muscles a lot more than you're using your triceps muscles. Your biceps muscles bend your arm, bend your elbow, and bring your fist to your shoulder. That's the movement. Your triceps muscles, on the other hand, bring your fist away from your shoulder. So they extend your elbows. How many things do you do where you extend? Not many. Not many. So we're going to do one. Can everybody get their right arm up over their head? Okay, if you can't get your arm up over your head, you can come up here. But what I'd like to do is see if we can do a tricep exercise here. So we've got our little fist. Let's go with 2 pounds. Because the triceps are underused. So we're going to go with 2 pounds. With that 2 pounds, we're going to see if we can get that 2-pound weight right onto the shoulder. And then up. Got that? 2 pounds, remember. Pretty easy. That's 2 cans of soup. Roughly. 15 ounces. That's what a can of soup is, right? Yeah, a pound is 16 ounces. So it's roughly 2 cans of soup. Everybody doing okay? Are you gritting your teeth? Yes, okay. So dentally, you should let go of that. And then breathe, right? So can you go to 3 pounds? So the elbow stays lifted, by the way. We're not going down like this, right? The elbow is staying lifted. Okay, and then let's bring that hand down. Whew. All right, just notice what that shoulder and arm feel like. And then if we can go to the other side, so let's take that left arm up. So same thing, if you're having some difficulty, you can bring your arm wherever it's not painful. So 2-pound weight, so just a light fist. Remember, the more you squeeze your fist, the less you're going to get here. So we're just going to bend that elbow, see if you can bring that weight, that fist down to your shoulder, and then back up. All right? Everybody doing okay with that? Good. Are you kind of craning your neck? See if you can relax your neck a little bit. Relax your jaw. So teeth, upper teeth and lower teeth, they need a little separation, right? Okay. How about 3 pounds just for 2 repetitions? And this will be our second repetition. Excellent. Okay. And then we'll let that come back down. So take a moment and just notice, are you more aware of the muscles here in the back of your arm? Yeah, kind of interesting, huh? So another great exercise for these back of the upper arm muscles are extensions. And again, what I was saying is this is for biceps, that is for triceps, right? So what we're going to do is 2 arms at once with 3-pound weights. We're going to bring the hands like right here about chest level. And then we're going to extend the arms back and lift the arms behind you without doing this, right? So you're not on the front of an old Buick, right? You're right here. So we're just going to extend and bend and keep the elbows lifted as you do it. See how my upper arms aren't moving? Or if they are, they're moving just a little bit. They're not coming forward, right? So it's not this. We're keeping those upper arms right there. Good. Everybody doing okay? We're at 3 pounds, right? Yeah, I think we can go to 5. I think we can. You're at 10 already? Okay. You stay at 10. Don't go above 10. That's a lot. That's a lot. And one more time, we're going to come up. We're going to hold. Really squeeze those muscles. Bring all your attention. Put your brain right there on what's happening in those muscles. Really squeeze them hard. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then to let go, we're going to go really slowly. So you should be like halfway there now. Good. And then let your arms relax. Let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes. Breath in, breath out. Feel your biceps in the front of your upper arm and your triceps in the back of your upper arm, and just notice if they're a little more awake. Take a nice breath in, let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes open. Okay, how are those upper arms feeling? Alive, yeah. It's amazing. So we don't often think about doing strengthening exercises without weights, and we can start there. You know, you can definitely do these with weights, with actual weights, but you don't have to have weights to do them. You can even do these with bands. Does anybody have like the bands at home? Yeah, this is great. I love taking my bands on vacation because they pack into the suitcase way better than weights, right? So you pack your bands, you do the same thing. Just hold on to your bands. You can do these extensions. You put it under your feet. You can do these biceps curls as well. All right? All right, let's roll the shoulders a couple of times. Get some shoulder movement in here. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of strength training for the shoulders now as well. Okay, so take your arms, let them kind of hang down by your sides. And now bring your shoulders up toward your ears and then slowly lower down. And pull them down, right? So we're going to exaggerate that. We're going to do this a few times. So lifting and lowering. Got that? So you got muscles here in the tops of your shoulders that are doing that. When your muscles, when your ears come up toward you, what's moving? Yes, the shoulders are moving. Wow, yeah. When the shoulders come up to the ears, these muscles are contracting. And when your shoulders come down from your ears, they're relaxing. Okay, so we got that movement? Okay, get your little weights, right? 5 pounds in each hand. So we got a total of 10 pounds here. We're going to lift up with those 10 pounds and then slowly come down with the 10 pounds. Right? So 5 pounds in each hand, right? So lifting those shoulders up and then lowering the shoulders down. Doing okay? You feel the added effort with that imaginary weight? Good. This is great for neck pain, for upper back pain. One more time, we're going to come up and down. Good. All right. So you still got those 5-pound weights in your hands, right? All right. We're doing all right? Ready to move to the next shoulder exercise? So right out here on this part of your shoulders, there are little muscles. Actually, they're pretty good sized muscles. And we're going to work those. So 5 pounds in each hand. We're going to slowly lift the 5-pound weights out. Keep your arms extended. And then slowly come back down. Right? So we're really using these muscles here. As you're breathing in and out, I want you to focus on right there on your shoulder. Right there on your shoulder. If you can't bring your arms parallel to the floor, in other words, if you can't bring them way up, bring them just as far as they'll go. Breathing in, breathing out. So going down slowly will help build more strength. Notice if you're gripping your hands, so remember what I said, there's a direct correlation or an indirect correlation. The more you grip your hands, the less you're going to use those muscles in your shoulders. Good. And then down. How about one more time? And we're going to hold up there. Okay? So you got 5 pounds in each hand. 5 pounds, and you're holding. And really squeezing the muscles right here in that kind of top to outer part of your shoulder. They're called your deltoid muscles, and they're like little epaulets, right? You know when a military uniform has the epaulets on the sides of the arms. How are we doing? Is it feeling like 10 pounds back there? Okay. It's beginning to. Okay, good. You're ready to let go. Not quite yet. So can you slowly lower down? Excellent. Release your weights. Let your arms hang down by your sides for a minute. Close your eyes. Breathe in, breathe out. And notice now if you have a little more awareness in those muscles right on the end of your shoulder into the top of your upper arm. Big breath in. Let it out with a sigh. All right. Can we do one more shoulder exercise? Are we okay with that? Yeah, we're getting the whole range in here, right? The upper arm and the shoulder. This is really good for upper arm and shoulder. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go back to like 3-pound weights, okay? And with those 3-pound weights in the hands, we're just going to come forward and down, right? So your fists are facing down toward the floor. Good. And down. Now, you might be able to do this really easily without focusing your attention, right? So some people are going to go, oh, this is super easy to do. What I want you to do is focus right here on the very front of your shoulder. It's another little aspect of that shoulder muscle. And squeeze that muscle as you come up. Now, if you can, increase your weight. Maybe go to 4 pounds. Maybe stay where you are. And notice if you're using your neck to raise your arms or your jaw to raise your arms. Good. And the next time that you lift your arms, you're going to hold here and breathe. So let's imagine we've got 5 pounds in each hand. Don't let your wrists go, right? So you want to have your wrists nice and strong. And you're working right here. So if you're feeling it more in the forearm, relax your fists. If you're feeling it in your neck and jaw, bring a little space between the upper teeth and lower teeth. Relax the shoulder tops down away from the ears. It's right in here, you guys. It's a very, very precise kind of movement there. Squeeze those muscles. 2 more breaths. We doing okay? All right. And then slowly lower down. You can let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes once again. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And just notice your arms and your shoulders now. Notice if it feels like you just spent a little time at the gym. You can let your eyes open and let's just give those arms a little massage. So kind of come up and Massage those arm muscles a bit. Doing okay? Excellent. Good, good, good. So it's good to kind of I like to pick a body part and kind of focus on that a little bit and just notice what we're aware of and what we're not aware of. And I think sometimes, again, we overuse certain things. So biceps muscles, these muscles here, we do a lot of this kind of movement in our daily lives. We don't do a lot of this kind of movement in our daily lives. So the triceps muscles kind of get neglected a little bit. And I don't want to say injury, but I will say it. So injury happens when we have an imbalance, right? So if I have an imbalance in one set of muscles over another, when I can identify that, oh, I'm stronger in this direction, but I'm not as strong in that direction, I can work on that a little bit. Do some things that'll make that a little bit different. Okay, we're going to switch gears now and work a little bit with the neck, right? Because the neck feeds into the shoulders, the upper arms, the chest. This is all related to our breathing, by the way. So arms are related to the breathing, chest muscles are related to the breathing, neck muscles related to the breathing. So we're going to bring the chin down toward the little notch in the collarbones. And as you bring your chin down toward the little notch in your collarbones, what I want you to focus on is what's happening in the back of your neck, maybe up into the back of your head and into your upper back. Breathing in and breathing out. Just kind of pulling the chin in toward the collarbone. So the movement with your chin is down and back a little bit. And then we're slowly going to bring the chin away from the collarbone. So bring it forward a little bit. And then lift the chin up. You don't have to go too far up. And then we're going to come back down and pull the chin back in. So let's do that a few times. Slow and steady. You can do this with your eyes open or closed, whatever feels okay for you. And again, when you bring the chin toward the collarbones, you're pulling back. A lot of crackling in there. Oh, then you need this for sure. Yeah. Kind of work all the crackles out. And then come back to sort of a neutral position. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing in terms of how we're moving the chin without lifting and lowering the head. So what we're going to do is pull the chin. How do I want to say this? Take your finger, take one finger and place it on your chin. Everybody's going, So we're going to take this finger, and it's like you're pushing your chin back this way. And then releasing. So don't push up, right? We want to push it down a little bit and back. And then release. It's like you're trying to give yourself a double chin, right? You're trying to go back there. Or another way to think about this, if that cue's not working, is think about the back of your head. You're trying to press the back of your head toward the wall behind you. Not the top of your head, but the back of your head. So it has a very different feeling. It should feel really kind of weird and constricting in the front of the throat for most of us. So if the finger thing isn't working, do the back of the head, whatever feels like it's working for you. I like the finger just because that gives me, I'm a very tactile person, so having that finger there kind of gives me the cue. And as you're doing this, again, I want you to focus on what's happening in the back of the neck, right? So you're pushing back and then you're releasing, right? And then as you feel it kind of in the back of the up into the back of the head, across the shoulder top, down into the top of the shoulders, maybe even between your shoulder blades. And then go back to sort of neutral. You can let your hand rest. So just notice again, if you want to close your eyes for a moment, notice the back of your neck, notice the front of your neck. Okay, now we're going to take the right ear to the right shoulder. So just dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. Now, this is a really tough one for a lot of people, right? Because as soon as I bring my right ear to my shoulder, this is what my head wants to do. Yeah, because these muscles right in here are very tight. You have two muscles that come from like right behind your ears that go right into your collarbones. And so for most of us, we have one that's a little tighter than the other, or they're both tight and they pull us into this position. So as I bring my right ear to my right shoulder, I'm going to resist my head's urge to do this. right? So we're going to do this a few times, and I just want you to notice the other way that we can do this is like this, and I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is get that ear onto the shoulder. Good. And then back up. Let's do that just a couple more times. And the next time that you have your ear over onto your shoulder, stay here. Now your ear is moving toward your shoulder, but your shoulder is not coming up to your ear. Your shoulder is staying down here. And you're going to take your left hand off your lap, let it hang down. Right? Okay, now grab your little weight. We're going to have like 3 pounds in that hand. And just feel the weight pulling that hand down toward the floor, keeping the right ear on the right shoulder. Keep breathing. Feeling the stretch in the left side of the neck, into the left shoulder. And then you can take your left hand back to your lap, lift your head up, close your eyes for a moment and notice if the left side of your neck feels longer than the right side of your neck. Just notice that difference, right? There should feel like more space between your left ear and your left shoulder, a little more openness in that part of the arm. It feels free, yeah. Okay, so now let's take the left ear to the left shoulder, and we're going to do the same thing. Just go back and forth a few times. So again, we might feel like, oh, this side works a little easier. We might feel like, oh, this side is a little harder. So again, if when you're bringing your ear to your shoulder, you're kind of turning your head up or turning your head down, I want you to focus on keeping like your nose straight forward as you bring that ear to the shoulder. And the next time the the ear goes to the shoulder, this is on the left side, you're going to hold here and breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. And take your right hand from your lap, let it hang down by your side. Right? So keeping the ear toward the shoulder, but the shoulder isn't moving toward the ear. Now holding a weight here in this hand, like 3 pounds. And feel that weight as it contributes to the stretch here. So you've got a 3-pound weight pulling that hand down closer to the floor. You're continuing to bring your left ear to your left shoulder and holding it there, breathing in and breathing out. Feeling a stretch on that right side. Could be up into your ear, the side of your head, down into your neck, your shoulder top, wherever you're feeling it there. And then slowly place your hand back on your lap, lift your head back up to center, close your eyes, and notice what the right side of your neck feels like. Notice if it feels a little bit longer. Maybe you just feel like you have more space in your neck overall at this point. Nice breath in, let it out with a sigh. Great, let your eyes open. Okay, and one last movement for the neck. So we've done some forward and backward movement with the neck. We've done some side to side movement with the neck, and we're going to do a little bit of turning now. So when we think about turning, when we think about twisting through the spine, especially in a place where we have a lot of mobility like the neck and the low back, so your lumbar spine, we want to make sure we maintain a nice tall posture. So the worst thing you want to do is like have your head in a weird position and then turn it. Right? Because your spine doesn't really support. This is like 9 pounds up here. That's a lot if it's off kilter and you're trying to turn on the spine. That's putting a lot of pressure on your spine. So if you have your head right above your shoulders, right? So instead of, this is our normal position. This is how we sit usually, right? My head is not above my shoulders right now. Can you see how far forward it is? So I'm going to pull my head back and I'm lining my ears up, if I can, lining my ears up with my shoulders, right? So I don't know if you can do that. Take your hands. See if you can stick your middle fingers in your ears. Not all the way that you can't hear me, but just there. And then see if you can get your thumbs to your shoulders and notice if you're kind of forward. See if you can pull that back a little bit, right? Everybody got that? All right. So you want to be in that position. Press into your sitting bones, lengthen through your spine, and as you breathe in, we're going to turn the head to the right. Just your head. And then breathing in and breathing out, we're going to go all the way to the other side. So this is a really slow motion no. right? Go as far as you can, to the left and to the right. When you get to the end of your range, right, when you get as far to the left or right as you can, go a little bit farther. See if you can really pull it over there. Next time you get to the right, stay there and breathe. And as you're holding here and breathing, take your right hand and place it on the outside of your left hip or thigh. And just give a little pull. Don't let your head move, but just give it a little bit of a pull here. And then release that, come back to center with your head. Good. Turn to the left. So just your head, not your shoulders, right? So if your shoulders are moving, we want to have just the head turning to the left. Take your left hand, bring it over to the outside of the right hip or thigh, and just give a really gentle little tug here. Just a really gentle little tug. Breathe in, breathe out. And then let your hand go, let your head come back to center. Okay, good. So just roll your shoulders a couple of times. All right, and now what I'm going to have you do is sit into the back of your chair. We don't ever do this, right? Not till the end, usually in this class. So for some of us, that's going to mean Edith Ann feet. Remember Edith Ann from Hee Haw, right? Was that Hee Haw? That was a long time ago. Laugh-In, right. It was one of those shows. Okay. All right. So where was I going with that? I don't know. So you can feel your back on the chair. Yeah? And now press your back into the chair a little bit. Right? So we want to just feel as much of the back as you can on the chair. You got that? All right. So let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes if it feels okay. If that doesn't feel comfortable, drop your gaze down between your knees to the floor. Take one hand and put it on your belly. Take the other hand and put it somewhere on your ribs. Now, as you breathe in and out, feel the belly and the ribs expanding and contracting. And also feel the pressure of your back into the chair. So you're breathing in and out. You can feel the belly and the ribs expanding and contracting. And you can feel the pressure of your back, your ribs, and your lower back moving into the back of the chair. Now, if holding onto your belly and your ribs is creating too much of a distraction, you can let your hands rest on your lap and continue to breathe into the back of the chair. So for some of us, again, I happen to be one of those very kinesthetic people, very tactile people. So the more contact I can have with my body as I'm doing this, the more awareness that helps me with. Some people don't need that. Some people have a different way of learning and a different way of being in their bodies. So whatever works for you. So we're really focusing on the breath as it's moving into the back part of the body. Can you feel your ribs in the back expand and contract into the pressure of the back of the chair? Breathe deeply in, expand. Breathe completely out, pulling the navel in toward the spine. So remember, it's that squeezing of the sponge, right? It's the when you exhale, it's like squeezing the sponge out and getting it nice and dry and ready to take in more breath. You might take one hand up by your collarbones if you're having some difficulty feeling what's happening in the upper part of the chest. And remember, this is the top of your lungs is way up here. We don't think about it. We often think that the lungs are like down at chest level, like down into like the fourth, fifth, sixth ribs. But they actually start, especially when they're inflated, you can really feel that movement up here under like rib 1 to rib 2. And then if you're still holding your hands wherever they are on your torso, your belly, your rib cage, your collarbones, you can let your hands come back to your lap. Relax the pressing into the back of the chair. Breathing in, breathing out, just notice what you feel. Now, if you're comfortable staying in this position, stay here. If you're not comfortable here and you want to come forward in your chair, you can do that. So again, whatever feels better. Some folks with shorter legs feel more comfortable coming up to the front of the chair. Some folks like to just kind of hang out in the back, but we're going to stay here with the eyes closed. Breathing in and breathing out. And now imagine you can go inside your rib cage. Imagine you're taking a little journey inside your rib cage. So like with your inner vision. So this is again really important to have the eyes closed to visualize this. So imagine you're sitting there in the middle of your rib cage. And when you look to the right, you see your lungs expand, you see your right lung expand and contract. And when you look to the left, you see your left lung expand and contract. And you notice that when you're breathing in on the right side, you see 3 lobes of your lung. You see like 3 little balloons that are all tied together on that right side, and they're expanding and contracting as you breathe in and breathe out. But on the left side, you only see 2. So there's the top lobe and the lower lobe on the left side. And that's because that extra little space there is taken up by your heart. So your heart is not quite on the left. It's a little more to the center, but it kind of takes up a little piece of that left lung, where that left lung is. So now you're noticing the lung on the right, the lung on the left, and you're noticing your heart. So remember, you're sitting right here in the middle of your chest. You can see all this. You can see your heart beating. You can see your lungs expanding and contracting. And as you're sitting here in the middle of your chest and you're noticing the right and the left and the front of you, if you kind of look down with that inner vision, right? So you just kind of look down into the bottom part of your rib cage, and you'll notice something there too as you breathe in. You'll notice that kind of floor. It's right below where you're sitting. You'll notice the floor moves down a little bit, and then when you exhale, it moves up a little bit. That's your diaphragm. So when you breathe in, you can see that diaphragm move down. When you breathe out, you can see the diaphragm move back up. So see if you can get a sense of this whole thing here, right? So you're breathing in and you see both lobes of your lungs, or I'm sorry, both sides, the right and the left, and it's all 5 lobes. They inflate, and as you breathe out, they deflate. And when the lungs inflate, the diaphragm moves down, and when the lungs deflate, the diaphragm moves back up. Another way to kind of visualize this, if you're having some challenge with the lungs and the diaphragm, is just to imagine that your rib cage is like a balloon. And when you breathe in, all sides and top and bottom of the balloon expand. And when you breathe out, all sides and top and bottom of the balloon contract. So the essence here, as you're sitting inside your rib cage, is that on the inhalation, the whole chest cavity expands. And on the exhalation, the whole chest cavity contracts. And the heart keeps pumping away. Breathing in, the whole chest cavity expands. Breathing out, the whole chest cavity contracts. Now, as you're breathing in and your chest cavity is expanding, see if you can feel a certain lightness in your shoulders and upper arms. And as you breathe out, see if you can feel a certain heaviness in your shoulders and upper arms. You might sense this as the arms and shoulders moving away from your body when you breathe in, and moving back toward your body when you breathe out. So if lightness and heaviness doesn't register, if that's just not working for you in this experience, this internal experience, just think of the arms and shoulders as moving away, out and away when you breathe in, because that balloon in your chest is getting bigger, and moving closer toward your body when you breathe out, because that balloon in your chest is getting smaller. So the arms are relaxed, and this allows them to move in and out with the breath. When we hold tension in our shoulders, our neck, and our arms, it restricts our breathing. All the exercises and movements and strengthening and stretching that we've just done with those upper arms hopefully has made them a little more responsive and a little less resistant to the breath. So they're able to let the movement happen from the expansion and contraction of the rib cage. So you're still sitting in the middle of your chest. You're watching that expansion and contraction with each breath in and out. Maybe you're seeing your lungs, your diaphragm, your heart. Maybe you're just seeing the inside of the balloon. And the next time that you inhale, hold your breath in for just a couple of beats. So your heart is going to beat 2 or 3 times as you're holding your breath in. And then you can slowly let the breath out like you're blowing out through a straw. And then allow your breathing to go back to its natural rhythm, in and out through your nose. Noticing if you have just a slight bit or maybe quite a bit more awareness of how the breath moves in your rib cage, up into your shoulders and your arms. And then take your hands to the front of your chest, right near your collarbones. Let's take a deep breath in, let it out with a sigh. And then let's just take a moment in gratitude for the breath. So without breath, there is no other life, right? Breath is it. It is what sustains us. So in gratitude for this breath, for the gift of breathing without consciousness and for the gift of breathing with consciousness. And then if you'd like, you can open your eyes and just acknowledge all these other beautiful breathing beings. Good. Go out there and have a good rest of your day. Good. I hope that was helpful. I hope you all enjoy better breathing.